Patrick Mahomes is walking into training camp like a man with something to prove, and for the first time in his career, that something isn't a championship or an MVP award. It's something far more basic. Can he simply be ready to play when the lights come on in Week 1? If you followed this story even a little, you know exactly what happened last season. Late in 2025, Mahomes went down with a torn ACL and LCL, the kind of injury that ends seasons and sometimes reshapes careers. For a quarterback who has built his entire identity on movement, on escaping pressure, on making something out of nothing with his legs, a knee injury like that isn't just painful. It's personal. It attacks the very thing that makes him different from every other quarterback in the league. So here we are, months later, and the question hanging over Kansas City isn't whether Mahomes will play again. It's whether he'll be the same version of himself when he does. And that uncertainty is exactly why every single practice rep this summer has felt like it's under a microscope. Here's what we know for sure. Mahomes has done everything right. He didn't start camp on the physically unable to perform list, which in itself is a quiet victory. He hasn't missed a single practice rep. He's been out there every day, grinding through drills, taking hits in a controlled setting, proving to himself and to everyone watching that his knee can hold up under football conditions, not just rehab conditions. And by every account, he sounds confident, genuinely confident, not the manufactured optimism athletes sometimes offer reporters. He believes he'll be ready for September 14th, when the Chiefs open their season against the Denver Broncos. But here's the twist, and it's the kind of twist that should make every Chiefs fan lean in a little closer. Andy Reid isn't saying yes. Not because he doesn't trust Mahomes. Not because there's some hidden setback nobody's talking about. Reid is doing what good coaches do when a franchise quarterback is coming back from a major knee injury. He's refusing to get ahead of the medical reality. Listen to how carefully he chose his words. "He's doing great," Reid said. "We'll just see. I'm literally taking it day by day. There are no predictions here on anything." Think about that phrase for a second. No predictions. This is a coach who has watched Mahomes win Super Bowls, who has trusted this quarterback with the ball in the biggest moments in football, and even he isn't willing to guarantee a Week 1 start. That's not doubt. That's discipline. That's a coaching staff that has seen enough athletes come back too early, push too hard, and turn a good recovery into a re-injury nightmare. And that's really what this story is about. It's not about whether Mahomes can play football again. Nobody around that building is questioning his talent or his heart. It's about the fine, complicated line between feeling ready and being ready. Those are two very different things, and elite athletes have a long history of confusing them. Reid laid out exactly how this decision will actually get made. And it's worth breaking down because it tells you everything about how seriously Kansas City is treating this. He said the final call comes down to medical clearance first. The doctors and the trainers have to sign off. Not the coaching staff. Not Mahomes himself. The people whose entire job is protecting his long-term health. Only after that green light does Mahomes' own feeling enter the equation. If he feels like he can go, then, and only then, does the conversation about a Week 1 start really begin. That's a layered decision-making process, and it's happening in real time, day by day, exactly like Reid said. No shortcuts. No emotional decisions based on hype or urgency. Just a methodical evaluation of one of the most valuable players in the sport. Now let's talk about why this particular moment carries so much weight beyond just one player's health. Mahomes has a reputation, a trend that's followed him through his career, and it's one he's openly aware needs breaking. He's had stretches, especially early in seasons, where things haven't clicked immediately. Slow starts. Uneven stretches before the machine finds its rhythm. Whether that's rust, unfamiliarity with a new set of weapons, or just the natural ebb and flow of an NFL season, it's become a talking point every single year. And now, layer a major knee injury on top of that existing storyline, and suddenly this off-season narrative writes itself. Can Patrick Mahomes not only come back from a devastating injury, but come back and immediately silence the one criticism that's followed him for years? That's the real drama here. It's not just recovery. It's recovery under a spotlight that refuses to give him any grace period. And you have to wonder what's going on inside Mahomes' own head through all of this. This is a competitor who has never dealt with true uncertainty about his own body. Injuries in the past were nagging, manageable, the kind you play through because that's what quarterbacks do. This is different. This is the first time his availability itself is the headline, not his performance. For a guy wired to control outcomes through sheer will and improvisation, sitting in a day-by-day holding pattern, waiting on doctors and trainers to make the call, has to be one of the strangest experiences of his career. But here's something worth noticing, and it says a lot about where his mindset actually is. He hasn't complained publicly. He hasn't pushed back on the caution. He's shown up, done the work, and let his actions on the practice field speak instead of forcing declarations he can't guarantee. That patience, whether it's coached or just maturity from years of high-stakes football, might end up being just as important to this recovery as anything happening physically in his knee. Meanwhile, the rest of the roster and the fanbase are left in this strange limbo too. Training camp battles are happening. Depth charts are being set. And yet the single most important question in Kansas City right now doesn't have an answer. Will the franchise quarterback KB under center in Denver on September 14th? Every practice reporter, every beat writer, every fan scrolling for updates is essentially watching a very slow, very high-stakes countdown, and nobody, not even Andy Reid, is willing to tell you how it ends.